Hey everybody, it's Will. I'm back with another edition of Creators Outlet right here on the Outright Geekery Network. Hey everybody, it's Will. Hey, that's me.
That was you. You opened on too many windows.
Uh-oh. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this video, SpinWiz Comics at spinwizcomics.com. They are a development platform to discover web and indie comics on. It's a free downloadable app on both iOS and Android. And here's just a little bit more about them. And now on with the program. Our special guest tonight is Corey Hardiman, the creator and writer of Sister Mercy.
Hello, pleasure to meet you.
Welcome. So when did the love of comics begin for you? Because I see a whole bunch of stuff in your room. So,
long time ago. I grew up with a love for it and stopped for... When I reached adulthood, I stopped, but my son got old enough that I started reading him comics, which reignited my passion for it again. And always being a writer of a novelist, it wasn't too long before I tried to bring the two mediums together and took a stab at writing comics myself.
And you're on to the second issue of the book currently?
The second issue is out now, and we are just finishing up the third one and getting ready to launch the third Kickstarter here, hopefully for the beginning of December.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas.
Yes, exactly.
It'll make a great stocking stuffer, although you won't get it till probably January, but, still.
Yeah, that's right.
You can.
The second issue, one of the stretch goals was a Christmas card, so we might have to do that one this time around again as well.
Oh, yeah, that'll be, that's always something people are, looking to check out, so.
Oh, for sure.
So tell me how you came up with the character and, a little bit more about her so we can learn about this book.
I guess it was about 8 years ago. I was at work one night, desk job at a warehouse, back shift. And a friend of mine that lived on the other side of the country was an artist. And she knew I love comic books and she knew that I like to write. And she said, we should create a character together. So I said, all right, how about a nun wandering through the desert fighting zombies, and it was born from there. Sister Mercy, the name was born immediately, came right out in the first conversation, and then it just took off from there. Hit a stalled for a few years, and just restarted it again here about 2 years ago.
The nuns are just exploding all over the place this year.
They are. I see that. Well, I like to think I got the drop on it here before, just a little bit before everybody else.
Yeah, because you're a few issues in. I had another creator on last week.
I watched that. Yeah.
Who has the
Mary Machine Gun?
Mary Machine Gun there. Yeah. So, and I was like, "This is your first book," and he was putting up stretch goals like he was Jim Lee or something. I'm like, you got calendars and, full-size standees and.
Love those standees. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I really, really like that. Somebody had actually mentioned something similar to that to me a few weeks prior. And not something I jumped on, but yeah, definitely a great idea. I wouldn't mind having one of those myself. Yeah, and this project looks great. Looks like a great character. I really hope that he's successful.
Oh yeah, it's very 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you know what I'm talking about because I saw that you have an affinity for Ariella Warrior Nun as well.
Funny, actually, I had never heard of her up until probably 2 weeks before the TV show came out on Netflix. I think Sean James did a review on YouTube of Sister Mercy #2. He had gotten the digital versions, backed us on Kickstarter, and in his review, he compared it to Ariella Warrior Nun and Razor. And I had heard of Razor. I had a Razor and Crow crossover comic back in the 90s, but I had never at that point had never heard of Ariella Warrior Nun. And then I went on online right after he mentioned that and looked her up, and I was quite surprised and impressed. And then it was a week later I saw the commercial for the TV show, and I couldn't believe it. Just the timing was insane. And again, that looks great. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks absolutely fantastic. I hope it's a hit.
It was. I watched it and it was good. The funny thing is there's Easter eggs in there that only people that had the original Antarctic Press run back in the 90s, early 2000s would actually click on.
Right. Yeah.
The actual series goes full circle if you read the book. So if you get a chance to read it, even
I'd love to read it. Actually, I would. That's one of the ones I want to check out.
Even online digitally, because I saw some people were talking when the show came out, and they were like, "I didn't know this was a comic book." I'm like, dude, there's not a program on a streaming service now that pretty much wasn't a comic book.
Exactly. That's where all the great IP is coming from now.
That's why AT&T bought DC, and that's why the mouse bought Marvel.
Yep, exactly.
Although the mouse buys anything that competes with it, so
That's right.
We're gonna buy everything. We're gonna be the Walmart of entertainment. But so I saw a couple people talking online about it, and they went and hit up as the haters that shop only on Facebook, live comic book sales nowadays say, I looked at Feebay for the prices. See, they don't want to go to eBay and pay the fees.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
But they will pay the same price for that book, and usually a little more, buying it off somebody on Facebook.
Right. Yep.
And then use PayPal to pay for it and pay the fees anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to get you one way or another.
I'm like, do you not realize what you're doing?
That's right.
But
as long as they're buying them, that's all that matters. As long as they're buying.
I loved a lot of the 90s indie stuff. I was into the stuff that looked like hardcore anime looking stuff, like Akira, anything that looked like Akira or better, like between Akira and the original Ghost in the Shell. I was like, oh man, this is dope. I gotta have it.
For me, it was heavy metal magazines. Loved heavy metal magazines.
Those two.
Enough of those.
I've got 3 or 4 boxes.
Yeah.
The other week, I actually had Frank Forte on the show, who's an editor over there for heavy metal now.
Oh, right on.
He was actually doing sketch covers on Heavy Metal 300.
Oh, beautiful.
He had a pretty cool looking Hellboy going on.
Oh, right on.
But so your friend out the other coast did all the art.
Originally, that was 8 years ago when we first started. I think we only got about 10 pages in. I wrote half a script for it. It kind of went off the rails and it all stopped. And then a few years passed, and an artist from Brazil, Ricardo Silva, found a relatively inactive Facebook page and messaged me and said that he'd like to draw the character. So I commissioned the very first pinup, and it was fantastic. I loved it. So hired him right then and there, and we've been working together ever since. And he's just absolutely fantastic artist and very, very easy to work with. And as you can see, if you check out the comic, he does some great work.
Yeah, I love how, there's a lot of things I hate the internet for.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the good things.
But there's a lot of great things that it is, doing stuff like this, reaching out to comic book creators.
Absolutely.
Especially this year with no conventions or anything.
Yep.
So,
there's so much talent out there, so many so many artists, colors, so many people eager for work. So it's great to match up with somebody and find one that does fantastic.
Oh yeah, and you find like these phenomenal artists like all over the world, and there's nothing in the digital age. There's nothing stopping you like you
Absolutely.
did hiring this fantastic artist from Brazil.
Yeah. And that's why we have some beautiful guest covers coming up for the third Kickstarter. Steph Wilson has done a cover, and
I love his work.
Oh, me too. Absolutely great. And Mike Crome has done a cover as well. Yeah. So, which Sanju, I can never pronounce his last name properly. Sanju Navione, I believe, is actually coloring right now. It should be finished within the next day or so.
Yeah, I have a confession about Steph though. I didn't realize until this year when I talked to him like on somebody else's podcast that Steph wasn't a girl.
Yeah, I realized the hard way too through talking with him on Facebook. He told me he's a dude throughout the course of the conversation. So yeah, I thought he was a female as well.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, nice hairdo. He's like, dude, that's my girlfriend.
That's great.
I'm like, well, who's the guy? Me.
Right on.
But I still love his work, and he's definitely awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's done so many covers too. He's done so much work. He's on so many Kickstarters. I'm happy to be on the list.
Hey, it's the other Skull Nunnery guy. What's going on, Max? So you got the artist from Brazil, and he's still working with you to this day.
He is, absolutely. We just finished. I just got the art today for page 18 of issue 3, and it's been coming along really quickly. Took us about 10 months in between the first couple of issues to get them out, but now we've picked up the pace considerably. So we're hoping it's probably going to be more like a less than 6 months in between each issue going forward.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah,
because it's not. This isn't your full-time job, so
no, not yet.
Not yet. One day, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Just dropping in to see his other nun friend. I think you guys should do a crossover next year.
Oh, is this the creator of Mary Machine Gun, Max DeVille?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right on. Yeah, it'd be kind of neat to see our characters together in a pinup, possibly, or something like that. That might not be such a bad idea.
Yeah. See.
The worlds are pretty far removed, but definitely a pinup could work. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, like do like you guys can do like a variant cover on each other's.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
he can have his artist do one, and I can have my artist do one.
Yeah,
one with his nun on top, and one with my nun on top.
Yeah. Just switch it up, and make it the same level of tier on each of your Kickstarters when they're going on,
Might be on to something there.
Just an idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh, always thinking,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, at least I always have the voices in my head gabbering.
I call that thinking. I hear you. That passes for thinking.
Oh, yeah. So I saw, obviously, because we talked a little bit before we went live, that Moon Knight is your favorite comic character.
Ever since I was a little kid. Yeah, absolutely. And there's, I guess you could see, there's a little bit of an influence in Sister Mercy with her talking to her gods, and when Moon Knight talked to his god. Although when I came up with the idea, I thought it was more of inspired by Joan of Arc being led by the voice of God. And then after I started thinking about it, I thought, well, maybe back in my head, I think all those Moon Knight comics I read might have had a little bit of influence in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Max says he's down. DM him.
Okay, right on. I will definitely be in touch. Absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely see a pinup in our futures. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and maybe you can add some cardboard to one of the stand-ups and have your nun just peeking up over his shoulder.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Might have to reach out to Antarctic Press, see if we can get the warrior nun Ariella in a threesome. That's might have come out the wrong way, but you know what I mean.
Triple nuns for the win.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You go from being scared of him as a kid with the ruler across the knuckles to they're gonna go kill zombies.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So why don't you go a little more in depth about the characters in the book and about the character of the nun?
So yeah, so it's takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting, and Sister Mercy is a schizophrenic nun that hears the voice of God, which leads her on her quest across the wasteland. And the line is up to the reader to draw whether or not she's hearing the voice of God or whether it's the voices in her head. And there's lots of twists and turns and dangers along the way, both real and imagined. And it is definitely an adult-oriented comic. Originally started as for a while, it was a novel. So I'd like to think it's very story and character driven. The violence and the nudity is kind of like the icing on top of the cake. It's not the substance of the story. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's just to help bring more eyes. So come for the pretty and stay for the story is hopefully the way it works out. And looking at probably 8 issues for the first run. And like I said, we're just finishing up issue 3 now.
8 issues, and considering wrapping it all up into a trade.
Yeah, actually, after 4 issues, I might look into doing a smaller one, do a volume 1, volume 2 for the first arc. And if there's still interest after 8 issues, I have a great idea for a very, very vastly different sequel that I would love to write, but that's a long ways down the road. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not that happens. Fingers crossed that I can maintain interest that long.
Oh yeah,
but it's been growing so far, so that's been absolutely great.
It'd be a great idea to do the trade, for the first 4 issues when you launch your 5th Kickstarter for this.
Exactly.
And then you've got the trade as a catch up.
That's right.
That can be added on.
That's right. Yep, that's the plan, and 100%.
See, I've learned something in 45 episodes.
Yeah, right on, right on.
I joked around with some people that with Mike and Mindy Wheeler.
Okay, yeah.
I joked around with them and go, wow, you better stop talking about this new platform you got because, you're going to make me want to write a comic book. You should. I go, nah.
Maybe you should. She might be on something. Her boobs comic looks fantastic. I look forward to reading that one. I hope that's very successful.
Look, there's no way boobs can be unsuccessful.
That's right. That's right. 100%. I couldn't agree more.
I'm waiting to see all of the variant covers that they got going on.
Oh yeah, I bet they're going to have some beautiful stuff for sure.
They got a Scarlet Witch with her top exploding. So
I saw I saw that. That looks fantastic. All right, censored version of that looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm too lazy to actually write a book. I go when the opportunity and the money came up for me to have a webcam and a desk mic. I went from writing reviews, articles, and everything in between for the website to I'm just gonna do this because talking is much easier.
We all need an outlet for the voices in our head, right?
Oh yeah.
So many different ones to choose from.
I have so many voices in my head. I could be either Moon Knight or a nun.
Oh, there you go.
What if Moon Knight was a nun? Well, we've got the book for you.
Well, one of his villains, antagonists that he fights off in Stained Glass Scarlet, she's got a nun vibe going on, a bit of a red nun. So,
oh yeah.
It was funny growing up as a child. Like back in the early 80s, my brother used to bring home comic books. He was a fisherman, and he'd have a stack with him on the boat, and he would bring them home every time the boat came back in, and he would just throw them at me. And so often, just randomly, there would be a Spider-Man comic or a random Marvel Presents comic, and there was just Moon Knight was always in there. And it wasn't until years later I realized, oh, he's not as popular as Spider-Man and Batman. I thought he was just as common as all these other guys. Everybody would say, who's Moon Knight? I mean, what do you mean? Who's Moon Knight? He's the greatest one of all.
And here you thought he was the most popular character in the Marvel universe.
I did, because I just seen him everywhere. Every time I'd go to a comic book spinner, and there'd be a Moon Knight comic, right? And yeah, he was. I seen him just as often as Spider-Man, which was just a random thing. So it was meant to be.
So you write actual novels. So tell us how long you've actually been writing.
Oh God, I think I started as a teen. I wrote my first unpublished book. I think I started writing it as a late teen, which was just I worked on it for a couple of years, and that was just a vampire story, very, very cheesy vampire story when I go back and read it. And that was just getting my feet wet and learning the process of writing. In my late 20s, I started a second novel, which is now also unfinished, but about 300 pages long and fill in a shoebox, which I really want to go back to. There are a couple of elements of it in Sister Mercy, although it's a much different story. And I want to go back to that novel and either write it as a comic book or touch it up and maybe get the novel out there. Also working on Sister Mercy in novel format as well. So I'm trying to come at it from a multimedia perspective. So hopefully in about a year or so, that should be done. I got about 150 pages down. And
that will, of course, be a much more in-depth story than the comic. So, there'll be a lot more in there.
100%. It'll have a lot of the same story beats and a lot of the same elements, but a more opportunity to flesh out the narrative much, much more.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Pops, how you doing? Thanks for popping into the show.
Hey, Pops.
Pops lost his hair for the weekend.
Right on.
Going to the wedding. His son's getting married this weekend, so.
Oh, that's why he got the haircut.
So,
all the pictures on Facebook.
He got the haircut. He might show up to CromCon this weekend in a monkey suit.
Oh, there we go. Right on. Well, congratulations, Pops.
Yeah, about time you got a haircut. So, have you published any novels, or are you just?
I'm a writer of unpublished and unfinished novels. I usually I like to get to the ending and stop right when I'm around that last chapter. I guess call it a fear of success or a fear of completion. And my son came along, and I became a single father about 20 years ago. So that sort of put everything on hold. And now he's all grown up and flown the coop. So I've got I'm come back devoted to writing again and trying to rekindle everything that I stopped working on 20 years ago, now that I have a little bit more time on my hands.
Oh yeah, that's everything takes a back burner when you got younger kids.
And it's funny when you look back at stuff that you haven't read that you've written that's 20 years old now, and you look back at it with modern eyes and you realize 99% of this is actually pretty crappy. But 1% of it, there's some little bit of gold in there. So I might have to build on that.
Yeah. I interviewed months ago. I interviewed the writer for Stargazer from, and he took the ideas for the Stargazer book, because that's published work now, from a book that he originally did that didn't take off the way he wanted to. And then looking back, it's like, yeah, I couldn't have gone anywhere with this, because he wrote himself into corners, but he took the characters, but took him to a new place in this new book. That, he got hired to write as an IP for another company. And, so it's a, you're not the only one.
Oh no, I'm sure there's many of us out there.
Absolutely. there's probably many people that have many shoeboxes stuffed with books that they went back and looked and go, oh, that's terrible.
That's right.
What was I thinking? But they don't want to get rid of it, so they put it back up on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
There might be some ideas in there. I'll get back to it later.
Yeah, that's 100% it. That's 100% it.
It's like, where's my beer and the remote?
Sometimes it's like a good wine, just needs some time to settle.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So how are you? You're doing Kickstarter. Do you have do you like overprint from the Kickstarter so you have books for when there's conventions or to sell online and everything too?
That's exactly it. Yeah, we do an overprint, and unfortunately, all the Comic-Cons were canceled, obviously, in the last year, so we weren't able to really go ahead and do any of those. We had booked at the East Coast Comic-Con, which is the biggest one here in Eastern Canada, but that one was gone. So hopefully, when everything goes back to normal next year, that's the plan. There's quite a stack of comic books here beside me, but I've actually been selling so many of them locally, I might have to go back and do another run again anyhow. So those are good problems to have.
Oh yeah, that's great news.
Yeah.
How much of a problem do you have getting your comics from Canada to the States?
It's a bit expensive. I spent 250 packages I sent out after the last Kickstarter, and I would say probably between 150 and 200 of them went to the US, and the shipping costs took a bit of a hike from when I first set the Kickstarter prices to when I actually sent them out. So I ended up taking a bit of a hit there. But overall, it's that's where 85-90% of my customers are down in the States. And well, I also sell it off of indieplanet.com. And so people can order it there as well from also within the States.
I heard from another Canadian creator that they were using some company that has like an over the road, like a kind of like a FedEx thing, and they have trucks that go over the border and drop off in the States, and then they drive the truck over, and then the driver will take boxes and boxes and go into the New York post office and mail them from there.
That's a great idea. That is a really, really good idea. I might have to look into that.
And another thing is, one of the things they were talking about is with the indie crowd fund is that you can put a campaign on there for US only, and they'll do all the fulfillment down on the US side.
Okay.
And ship it out. They've got a deal with they got a deal with everybody, but they got a nice deal with the printer, a company that does like the metal flake covers and metal posters, and they got a big deal with shipping and the Gemini mailers.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So I'd reach out to them over on the Madness, and
for sure. I've been following their crowdfund platform a little bit. I said, just kind of seeing where it's going.
Yeah, so, a lot of people are like, well, we're gonna let you know when you come out of beta.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly.
But I'm
definitely on board. However, whatever I got to join up to get that boobs magazine, I'm on board.
Oh yeah, because boobs.
Exactly right, and super boobs. Can't get any better than that.
Oh. Make me a motorboating mother.
Reminds me of back in the 90s. I had a comic. I wish I still had it. I don't even know who made it. It was called Dare Dame, and it was a ripoff of Daredevil, but she had sonic boobs, which she used for echolocation.
I'm gonna say that wasn't a mainstream comic book.
I don't think it was Marvel or DC. No, I don't think.
So what are some of the other books that you grew up reading?
Oh, a lot of the basics. I've always been a big fan of Marvel, actually. And funny enough, as I said, when my son was 5 or 6 years old, I started reading him comics, and by that time, I hadn't read comics for my own pleasure in over a decade. And he was very taken with Wolverine. That's when the X-Men movies were first coming out. And and I used to do all the voices when I read the comics. So he had a blast with them. But I was reading him the comics, and at the time it was Wolverine, Agent of Shield, when he was killed by the Hand and reincarnated and came back evil and went on a killing spree and had to be unbrainwashed by Shield. And I remember I was just so enraptured with that story. I love it. And shortly after that, Civil War came out, and I thought, wow, comics have really, stepped up in the last few years, and I just got right back on board with them, and that was that. Although in the last couple of years, I've been more into the indie side rather than anything else, right? So,
oh yeah,
and there's some beautiful indie comics out there. I don't know how many projects I've backed now, quite a few.
Oh well, the only way to know that is by looking at one of your Kickstarter pages.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll tell you. So,
yeah. I'm sure it must be 40 or 50 by now anyways.
Oh yeah. So I saw in some of the pictures on your Facebook that you're a big horror buff.
I am. Yeah, absolutely. That's funny. As a child, I was absolutely terrified of horror. Didn't want to see anything horror. I think I seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre at a much too young of an age, and like most kids, I had a sadistic older brother that told me it was real. So for years it was didn't want anything to do with it. Then as a teenager, I guess I got the bug, and I've had it ever since.
Did he used to go outside your bedroom window and start up a chainsaw?
No, not that far. He did chase me with nunchucks because he was a big Bruce Lee fan. So I had a few bruises from those.
That's
he used to tell me he was toughing me up, right? That was the 80s for you.
Oh yeah.
Having an older brother in the 80s was just unhealthy no matter what.
Yeah. Having friends in the 80s was unhealthy.
Yeah, that's right.
None of this, wrap your kids up in bubble wrap and put pads and helmets on them.
Yeah.
Screw that.
Yeah.
I remember the most fun we had in college was Friday nights at the dorm rooms, getting hammered and stair sliding.
There you go.
Didn't end well for anybody,
Right on.
They the security would come by. There'd be like 7 or 8 holes in the walls by the outside door. And what happened? I don't know. Somebody must have moved furniture in and hit the wall. But it's a footprint.
It was a good time.
Yeah. I was the one at the top of the stairs pushing people down. So,
well, there you go. Absolutely. King of the hill, right?
Oh yeah, it was fun for me.
Right on.
So I also see the Hulk poster behind you.
Yes. Yeah. First appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah. So being a horror fan and what the creative team did with Immortal Hulk.
I want to read that. I haven't read that. That is on my list. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I haven't read anything Marvel's put out. I think the last thing I read was the Secret Empire with Captain America. I kind of, except for Moon Knight, I follow Moon Knight. I'll read every Moon Knight comic religiously, whether it's a good or bad. But no, that Immortal Hulk run, I definitely would like to read that as well. And also the Punisher run where he puts on the War Machine armor. I haven't read that. I want to read that. That looks great.
I love that idea. And I was actually playing a mobile Marvel game that actually gave you, you could earn, in-game, what they would use for money.
Right, yeah.
So, upgrade your character, but not really, but you'd have to use it to upgrade the powers to get stronger.
Right.
But you'd have to use a different type of money in the game to buy new outfits. So every time they did something in the comic, they would bring it in. So they got.
There you go.
And I was talking to a friend of mine.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
And then he went online, and before he even hung up from talking to me, he went online and bought this. He goes, "Yeah, I just bought this on eBay. I'm shipping it to your house."
That's a good friend.
Cool.
That's a good friend for sure.
I go, well, if I knew you were going to buy it for me, I would have said, well, Mezco has the 1/12 series. And, I'm like,
there you go.
I go, as long as it's not my money, I don't care.
That's right.
But
for that case, you might as well go for the life-size replica. No.
Because then I'd be mad when it didn't work. and then I would try to figure out how to get my guns mounted on.
Great for photo ops, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, you being a horror fan, you've definitely got to read Al Ewing's run on that. And they just released a one shot of Immortal She-Hulk.
Oh, okay, right on.
That was just like a special one shot they did, but after Immortal Hulk's going to end next year at like issue 50, and and not long after that, he's, I guess, supposed to do like unless they've changed it, he's supposed to do like a full blown Immortal She-Hulk run as well.
So that Immortal Hulk that went 50 issues, really? Wow, I didn't realize it went that long.
Well, it's gonna go 50 issues, yeah.
Okay, right on.
A lot of people dropped off it. A lot of people jumped on it because, oh, it's new. This looks cool, and all the Alex Ross covers and everything.
Yeah.
And then those issues blew up, and they some of them have like 7th or 8th printings.
Wow.
For
any modern Marvel title to be up to like 50 issues is remarkable. Because usually they get up to issue 12 before they're rebooted with another issue 1 again.
Oh yeah, because all these modern artists and writers that the big two have all think that they're the only person that should be telling the story, and since it's their story they're telling, they should have their own series.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't have anything personally against Donny Cates. I just don't like him. And and he's like, and everybody's like, he's a great writer. I go, who's your favorite character? Venom. I'm like, oh yeah, there's an in-depth character.
Well, I know I'm reading the Avengers Age of Khonshu right now. And I wish I could say good things about it, but it's I'm reading it just because Moon Knight's in it, and I collect them religiously. I think I probably have 96% of the issues that he's in. I might need a dozen comics to complete my full collection, and so I buy these out of obligation only, and I cringe through reading them. It's not a good example of what Marvel. It's not a good example of what comics could be. That's for sure.
Oh, most definitely.
All right.
Buddy of mine is before he got married, was a huge Moon Knight fan. And,
right on. Yeah, I think there's like 6 of us.
That many?
Yeah.
And I liked him when I thought he was like a Marvel version of Batman, but more violent.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I found out all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, because there was one series came out about 8-10 years ago, and I started picking it up, and he was having like all the Avengers were in the first couple of issues and everything. And that turns out the Avengers actually weren't there.
Oh, that was horrible. That was the Brian Bendis run. That was one of the worst Moon Knight runs of all time. That was bad. That was very bad.
I hate Bendis. He came to DC and ruined everything.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's beyond bad actually, that run. Again, I think it lasted like 12 issues. Yeah, and because previously Moon Knight had always had 3 personalities plus Moon Knight. And Bendis decided he wanted to get rid of those personalities entirely and turned him into Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Captain America. And it's like, no, that just didn't work at all. And in the current Marvel run, they've made him super powered, godlike levels of power. He's wielding Mjolnir and taking out Thor, stole Ghost Rider's car. And it's just, I always liked Moon Knight when he was a street level fighter. He puts in this. He goes through the same stuff as Deadpool without the healing factor. He just gets the broken bones and takes the gunshots and just, without the healing factor. And that was one of the things that I always liked about him.
And I'm sorry, Ghost Rider drives a motorcycle.
That's right. That's right.
That car thing, bullshit.
It was well done in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Dude still drives a motorcycle.
Yeah, not my Ghost Rider.
No.
But if you would have told me Moon Knight was going to steal Ghost Rider's car, I thought that sounds like an epic comic. I can't wait to read it. But how you can mess that up, I don't know, because it was horrible. It was just absolutely horrible.
How can you mess that up? Well, apparently this is how you mess it up.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I remember my buddy Jason was like wicked into Moon Knight. The long run where Platt came on and started doing some of the covers.
Mark Spector Moon Knight, yeah.
And he's gonna have a short box that's that run, and he was buying like multiple issues of that will run. And when Platt started doing the covers, he dropped all the other books he was collecting at the time, and he's like,
bought all those.
He goes, if Platt's doing the cover, I want 10 copies.
I don't blame them. They were beautiful covers, and I still need a couple. Actually, I think I only have 2 of the Platt covers.
I think the last Moon Knight I bought was just because it was like an anniversary issue, was issue 200.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I was running the crazy runs in the family type storyline I think they had going on.
Yeah, I never read it.
I
bought it for the cover because one of the covers it wasn't Platt, but it made me think of the Platt covers.
Oh, okay.
It was really good, but it was one of those online guys that will buy, if there's like 3 covers to a book, he'll buy, multiples of all 3 covers.
Right.
And you only want this cover. Well, he'll only sell them in a set, so you got to buy all the covers.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because he gets a bigger, I guess,
gets a bigger cut that way.
He gets a bigger cut because the more he orders, the bigger the break he gets. How all that works. But
absolutely. You be Walter. I think it was the Doug or the Houston Huston run of Moon Knight, the bottom from the late 90s, early 2000s. That was by far pinnacle, the best Moon Knight. That's when he cuts one particular fight. He cuts off his opponent's face, and later on, his girlfriend catches him wearing it in the bathroom. Right? It's some pretty mature, dark. That's definitely the darkest Moon Knight comics have ever been, and the best. His character well served to be in that darkness.
That sounds like where they got the idea to cut Joker's face off a few years ago.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, that's right. Could very well be. Actually, it could very well be.
Because that was funny. Because Harley thought Joker was dead, and somebody else took, skinned his face off. And apparently, he skinned his face off. She thought the skin of his face was haunted, so she broke into police headquarters, stole it, and put it on.
Oh, that sounds fantastic! Right on. Sounds like the writers of Batman are definitely reading the writers of Moon Knight's work. That's for sure. Somebody's copying somebody else's homework.
Yeah. Well,
that's always been the case, though, with Marvel and DC, right?
Yeah.
Moon Knight, Batman.
Yeah, they just go back. They just go back and forth.
That's right.
Moon Knight, Batman, and Daredevil. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All 3 of those. Yeah, for sure.
So, what have you read indie-wise recently that
I see Scorpiana. I read that one. Ace and Starlet was one that I got. I also backed the Joan of Arc one because it was one of the inspirations for Sister Mercy, and their number one Kickstarter went the same time my number one Kickstarter was up. Pretty much anything with boobs in it, really, or anything that looks particularly good. There was one Code 45, I think it was. I backed that one as well. That one was really good. Yeah, there's so much good work out there. It's fantastic. It really, really is.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really tempted to hop on that Keanu Reeves Kickstarter as well, but they definitely don't need my money. Their numbers are up there. I want to read it, but it's a pricey one to back. I have a hard time justifying it, but I'm definitely I might get on there before it's all over. I'm still weighing it.
What's it, like 800 million or something now?
Yeah, something close to that. I'm sure it's insane.
And then you have Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel doing that other book, and I'm like, that's they hit like 1.5 million in like the first 24 hours or something, or the first week. I was like,
that's great.
In the first week, that I'm like, that's just nuts.
100%. Yeah, that's awesome. Bring all those faces into Kickstarter. Let's have lots more celebrities and famous people doing projects and bringing in all these new backers. I think that's just fantastic.
But yeah, you get that, but then you get a good portion of the angry indie people that are like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I don't get, and I've seen some of the comments, and it's one of those things I really don't get. Like the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So it's it can only be good to have these guys in there. I can't see, I guess, but then again, some days some people just need something to complain about. That's how they know they're still alive.
Yeah. It's like, well, they're taking money out of our pocket. How are they taking money out of your pocket?
Quite the opposite. The opposite.
Look, they're friggin' famous as hell, and people are going to buy their stuff no matter where they put it up.
That's right.
But they're self-publishing this, so they're going to go to a crowdfunding platform. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't understand is Kickstarter and Indiegogo are not comic book platforms.
That's right.
They're crowdfunding platforms. So you can put anything on there. Like
new indie crowdfund.
I think it's ludicrous that a company like Hasbro is putting toys for new toys for pre-sale that all they've done is make the mock-up model, and they show it on like a live stream of all the stuff they're thinking of making, because until they get the numbers in they want, they're like, well, it's either going to make us this much money or we're not going to do it. And they put it up, and next thing you know, they made like, $2 million in an afternoon, from G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Right. Yeah.
It's,
exactly. Well, what was it when they put out He-Man? I was originally supposed to be Conan. I was watching here.
Oh, on the Toys That Made Us. Yeah.
Recently, they had they wanted to do a Conan action figure run, and they were. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that was it. Toys That Made Us. That right. That was a great video. Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff you learn.
Great stuff, because I'm a little older than you, so I was collecting like the 60s G.I. Joes, when G.I. Joe was a G.I. named Joe. And
I think did I freeze up?
Yeah, you're getting a little. You're going, but I can see you fine, but the audio is kind of like staticking a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, the big doll, bigger.
Yeah, they were They were like 12-inch.
There's a storm here. I'm wondering if it might be interfering with my signal.
Yeah, probably. It could be.
Yeah. Oh, you're breaking up.
I think it might be the storm by you breaking into it some.
I got to.
Yep, you look like a kung fu movie now. you look smooth, then they stop, and then the voice comes out.
Oh, right on. I'll have to work on my Japanese accent.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but I had those in the old Migos, the Star Trek, and the superhero stuff from the 70s.
Oh, I would have loved to have had some of those old Star Trek ones. I'm a hardcore Trekkie myself. Those are awesome.
I've got those. They just released a Picard and Data in the 8-inch line.
Oh, really? Oh, right on.
So
that would be awesome.
I remember I had talked to Marty last November at a convention, and he had gotten the rights back from Star Trek, and then he went and renegotiated with CBS. And at the time, Picard hadn't been really announced yet, so he got the rights to make everything from the original series all the way up through Discovery. He could make anything.
Oh, for Discovery as well? Right on.
So
I haven't seen many toys out there for Discovery.
No, I don't think there's any.
Yeah, I think there was something with the copyrights. I remember seeing a video or something talking about the way the rights are broken up because of Bad Robot.
Oh yeah, between the two companies, that's always a bad mix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look how long it took us to get Batman 66 on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And now it's readily available, and now I don't need to buy it because they've got the first 3 seasons on the Roku channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all through this company called FilmRise that gets like a hold of like all the older TV shows.
Oh, okay.
And I think either on Tubi or Pluto, there's a thing where you can access the FilmRise channel for like all like those old shows.
There's some pretty obscure early 80s TV shows that I remember from when I was really small that I can't find anywhere that I would love to watch. BJ and the Bear, Tales of the Golden Monkey, stuff you don't hear anybody talking about anymore. I would love to get back and watch those old shows somehow.
I remember a show with Patrick Duffy, Man from Atlantis.
Oh, yeah.
So, I convinced myself, no, I can't go to bed yet, Mom. I got to watch Aquaman.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was Man from Atlantis. I'm like, yeah, Aquaman.
I always had to go to bed earlier with my older brother, and I could hear him downstairs watching the Dukes of Hazzard. Whenever I hear that car horn go off, I'd be so frustrated that I couldn't be down there watching
it. Dukes of Hazzard. What did we have for superhero shows back then? We had
Greatest American Hero.
Greatest American Hero. We had the old reruns of obviously Batman 66, George Reeves Superman,
Captain America, those old Hulk movies.
The old Hulk movies, the old TV Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, and the Incredible Hulk TV show with Lou Ferrigno. Can't forget that.
Yep. The Saturday morning Captain Marvel show.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I actually interviewed the original actor, Jason Bostwick.
Oh, wow.
About a month and a half ago. And what else we had? Oh, Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
Beautiful woman.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And And then we had like a ton of cartoons, but we had like weird stuff like
There's that really cheesy live action Spider-Man show too. That was really, really, really bad. I think they just had him hanging on a line from a helicopter flying around the city with one camera shot.
Yeah, they did stuff like that they couldn't name the show that today, because one of the movies was the Chinese Web,
right?
And imagine all the liberals like going up. You can't call it that. That's racist.
Right. That's right.
Like,
that's right.
Oh my god.
I tell you what, I did watch here recently, which I'd never seen before, which I was pleasantly surprised, was the original Doctor Strange movie. I think it was like 1972.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
That was a fun watch.
Well, it's fun because it's funny because we've seen like a fairly good Doctor Strange movie.
That's right. And I think the oddest thing about it for me is being a big fan of the show Arrested Development. I can't remember the actress's name, but she plays the mother in Arrested Development, and I've only ever seen her as an older lady. And to see her young and attractive in her 20s in this Doctor Strange role it was kind of surreal. I think she played Morgana Le Fay or something like that.
Oh yeah. And what did I see on? Oh yeah, Tubi had, and I watched it on Tubi, was the Return of Swamp Thing with Heather Locklear.
Oh, okay, right on.
It was like the worst piece of garbage ever.
Heather Locklear, though, it's still worth watching right there.
Exactly, I watched it. Probably the same reason I watched T.J. Hooker a couple weeks ago on the Roku channel.
Wonder Woman. Right on. And William Shatner. You got to watch it for William Shatner.
Oh yeah, you got to watch it for the evolvement and devolvement of the hairline.
That's right, exactly.
So
I don't know if you've ever seen his video. I don't know if you've ever seen William Shatner's video on YouTube. On YouTube, William Shatner has a slam poetry version of Bohemian Rhapsody that he does. Worth checking out. There's a music video and everything. You'll never forget it. His face appears in the moon as he's reciting this poetry of Bohemian Rhapsody. It's classic, absolutely classic.
Oh, it's just awful. I know. Leonard Nimoy had a couple of albums too.
Oh, okay. I can imagine what that must have been like.
He sang, but it was kind of like sing talk.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine him singing songs, but if somebody did one of the songs that he did in his version, but karaoke, it would be like The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You know how they're not really singing, they're just talking the song.
Almost a Leonard Cohen type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
there we go.
Time, yeah. The only album I have in my loft here now, a friend of mine gave to me when I was in the hospital a couple of years ago. It's a full-size album, and it's got like all like monster stories and stuff on it. Remember the old like Power Records with the narrated stories?
Oh, right on.
But this, all the artwork on the album cover, and it folds open, and inside there's like oversized comic pages.
Oh wow!
And everything, the album artwork inside and out, and the comic, all done by Neil Adams.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. See, modern day music, that's something that got lost along the way. When you go back and you look, 70s, 80s, even 90s, you look at those album covers, works of art, right? And now it's, a picture of a staple or something. It's just not the same, not the same. Molly Hatchet with Frank Frazetta covers. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, yeah. Now, why don't you shoot me the site address for where people can buy copies of your book online?
It is. Let's see here.
You can send it to me like in private chat, and I can
Oh,
pop it up.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah, right here. And there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, I do all the printing out of Florida Indie Planet. They do absolutely fantastic work there.
Oops. Wrong tab. There we go. There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, so that link that you can get you you can follow that. The digital is $249 download for the digital, and the I think it's $499 for the print edition, for the standard print editions.
That's perfect. And number 3 is coming up fairly soon in Kickstarter.
It is, and with the number 2 on Indie Planet, there are 2 versions up there. There's the 24-page standard PG-13 version, and then there's the 28-page extreme version with 4 extra pages of more mature content, which pulls no punches. And yes, in issue 3 and the issue 3 Kickstarters, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, going to launch on December the 1st or December the 2nd. And we're really looking forward to that. The covers, yeah, we have some great covers.
Oh, yeah, I see looking at it now, because there's like some blurry squares over some images.
Yes, yeah.
Now, who did the art on the on issue 2? I mean, on the cover. I didn't know if it was the same artist from
Same artist, Ricardo Silva did both the covers. The extreme cover was colored by Fred Marino, also out of Brazil, and the regular issue 1 standard cover of Mercy standing in front of the diner, colored by Ivan Dominguez, who's also working on an issue 3 cover right now. And just some amazing. Been really blessed to work with some amazing artists and some amazing colorists. Just been seeing some really great work. And I'm going to spread that a bit further with issue 3, like I was saying, with some guest artists to get a few different looks out there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm looking at the extreme cover now, and well, let's show everybody. You can't see it anyhow. So
there it is. I love that cover.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, it's the black background. It makes everything pop. It's all about the black background.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes everything stand out there, right?
So I'm looking, and obviously your copy, if you buy, go to Indie Planet and buy it, and you get it in. The one thing that cracked me up about this cover is, as we have boobs a popping, it seemed like a little overkill to put this big yellow boom extreme edition 28 pages.
I needed a little something on there so people knew that there was a little more content in one issue as opposed to the other, right?
Besides seeing a topless nun, yes.
Yeah. See, and the difference also between the two is those 4 extra pages of content it's actually story content. They're not just like pinups at the end of the issue or anything like that. It's an actual little another little aspect to the story.
That's great, and you got great price points on the books too. So,
Well, yeah,
I mean, kudos for that, because I mean, I've seen some books and they look great, but for some reason, just like a normal, not like this cover, but say like your cover A,
mm-hmm.
and they're asking 25 to $35
Wow,
for an issue, which to me is like a little hard pressed, because I've interviewed guys that have like, an entire, graphic novel, like over 100 pages, and their price point, one of them, Tyler's price point was, he had a sci-fi graphic novel that was over 100 pages, and the price point on that was $20 free shipping.
wow.
So I mean,
That's very reasonable.
You got to think, it's like it's one thing if you're like a Jim Lee or a Jeff Lemire,
That's right.
to be like, well, yeah, here's the special convention cover for my book, and it's $50, and I'll sign it, but that's another 25. Or being just an indie creator that's like, well, I think it's better to keep your books modestly priced,
Get the exposure.
get nobody can pay bills with exposure, but better to get it into more people's hands.
That's right.
Like you, $5 for a physical copy, half of that for a digital copy.
Yep. Yeah, and my goal is just to get as many people to read it as possible. All right, and the more feedback I get, the better. People seem to absolutely be loving it so far, so that's been absolutely fantastic.
And what are some of the roundabout numbers you've done so far for the first 2 issues?
In regard, how many copies you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I think what I figured it out all together. Let's see. I printed off between the 2 issues. I printed off 1,200 copies. 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably around between 700 and 800 copies, roughly.
That's not bad.
No, not too bad at all. There was the interest between issue 1 and issue 3 more than tripled. So I'm only and again, a lot of positive feedback on issue 2. The Kickstarter seemed to be very successful, so I can only hope that the issue 3 is going to jump a bit more. Fingers crossed.
Oh, definitely. Let me just blow this page up here so we can talk a little bit more about this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna click on the digital. Is it the digital download? Yep. And we get this cover.
Yeah.
In front of a diner. I really like the boob cover, but this cover is straight fire. It's total badassery.
Love that. It's I had 3 different colorists go at that, and they all did great jobs. But that's Ivan Dominguez's work, and he just nailed it. Like it was a home run.
Yeah, it's like the light of God shining down on top of her, and everything else like fades out into darkness.
And the darkness is coming together.
Mm-hmm. Usually.
And that page 1, that's framed. I have it here. It's going to be framed and going above my couch on the wall. The original artwork. I absolutely love that page. I think Ricardo did such an amazing job with that.
Now, is that a grounded tanker?
It is. That's a lighthouse in the middle of the desert.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Most of the water's all gone. This is the world. This is the last days of the world. It's pretty much it's a dying wasteland. This
is cool because the her habit looks a little bit inspired from Huntress.
Okay, yeah. See, actually, now when I first came up with it, I was actually thinking a little bit of Dagger from Cloak and Dagger. I thought I was scared I was actually a bit too close to that. I remember there was one run where Cloak and Dagger traded powers, and she had some of the black and the white together, and it looked a little bit similar to that.
Yeah, it's just the white line, the white lines, the cross.
Yeah.
Helena had that. The second Huntress had that look, and they've redone her outfit multiple times, of course. But
okay, yeah.
And here's the good stuff that we can't see.
Yeah, that's right, all blurred out.
That happens every time a woman gets naked in front of the fireplace.
Blurry spots appear.
Everything gets blurry.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably from blood rushing to places, but
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, this book looks awesome, though.
Thank you. Yeah, people really seem to be enjoying it so far. That's for sure. And the story writes itself. It really, really does.
And there's your favorite cover, and then the main cover.
Yeah.
And the fireplace scene. And your favorite piece of artwork.
Yeah, I really do love that piece of art a lot. One of the rewards we had on the last Kickstarter was allowing the backers, the highest tier reward was the original artwork. The backers could choose which pages of the original art they wanted. And I think it was 8 backers, I believe, chose that tier. And I had my fingers crossed that nobody was going to choose that page because I wanted it on my wall. And so I still have it. So it's good. They all went for the pages with the nudity.
Well,
my girlfriend would not let me put those up on my wall.
That's perfect. It's a great looking book.
Thanks.
I will have to dig into it myself.
Good. I hope you like it.
And we want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on here. It's been a blast.
We made it through the storm. We talked about a whole bunch of geeky nerd stuff, and
that's right. And I have all my fans in my room turned off so you can hear me. And I think it's about 500 degrees in here. I'm melting. It's warm.
Well, I live in a loft here, as you can see. Comic boxes behind me that I'm going through.
Right on.
Selling off a bunch of my collection because it just got to be too much.
I did that and I regret it. It's so bad. Oh, I had 7 long boxes and I thought, no, I'm just going to take all the Moon Knight out and I'm going to sell everything else, even some big keys. There was a Amazing Spider-Man $299, $300. Just sold the works. And I'll regret that for many years to come.
I sold a couple of minor keys last month. On a lark, just to check it out. I bought like the first 2 issues of All New Wolverine, where he was dead and X-23 picked up the mantle.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, number 2 sold like that because it's Honey Badger's first appearance. And
okay, Honey Badger. I've never heard of that character before.
She's had like 3 different names. I guess Dakin, Wolverine's son.
Right.
Just like, calls her calls this character whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like that's kind of like a 80s, 90s thing. You see a buddy with, "Hey, Schmecky, how you doing?"
That's right.
And
I got a friend like that. Absolutely.
And he started calling her, she got introduced and it was like her actual name in the book. And then, "Hey, Honey Badger, what are you doing?" And then the name evolved to something different, a few issues down the road.
Right on.
It was her first appearance, and apparently all the speculator fan pages like, "Ooh, this book's gonna be huge."
They like to speculate that a lot.
Absolutely. That's their favorite saying. "This book is huge right now."
Yeah.
Because I've got 3 cases of it in my back room.
Yeah, that's right. Anything to inflate that hype, for sure.
So I sold that. I sold the first cameo of Lobo's daughter.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I pulled the only other like modern Teen Titans book that I had bought, besides that one that was like kind of like a one shot that I sold, was the tie-in to the Joker That Laughs in Teen Titans 12. And that book, with like a 9.8 or better grade on it, is the last sale of that I saw was like $1,400
Wow.
because
Wow, that's
it's
awesome.
got it's got the first cameo appearance of the Batman Who Laughs in it. So
Okay, great. Great.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to sell that one. I'm sending that. I don't get much. I don't get very many books graded because then you can't read them.
That's right. I like to have two versions. I like to have the graded copy so that I can put it safely away, and I like to have my reading versions as well, right? So I've been actually cleaning up a little bit lately on the graded Moon Knights, graded and slab. So that's a whole new buying market for me. I'm just getting into.
I like uh, I like getting certain creators, especially ones that I grew up reading.
Mm-hmm.
I like being able to meet them,
Oh,
or
for sure.
in case of this year, at least talk to them online and get something that they've done signed. So like the last slab I bought, I scored a CGC yellow label, not a very good grade on the book, but the signature is more than worth it. But
Right on.
I got a graded copy of All Star Squadron #1, um, in the new CGC case that they look very nice and shiny.
No,
So and it was signed by Jerry Ordway.
right on.
So I still haven't met Jerry, but I didn't have a signature either, and it would have cost me $45 to get the book graded without a signature.
Oh, wow.
So I paid 35 for a graded signature. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. And
Yeah, that's a
I,
pretty good deal.
I've got a copy of the book, and I read it online. We actually have a I'm involved in another podcast that I do with Thomas from Outright Geekery called "Okay Boomer,"
Right on.
where all we do is we delve into back issues like gold, silver, and bronze age books.
Okay, yeah.
Once in a while, we do something like a little bit more modern, but it's always back issues, and we we read the whole we read or in most cases reread the book, before the show, and then we have a digital copy that we flip through page by page, and you
Right
know
on.
just talk about the book all the way through. So people that haven't read read a particular back issue can tune into a show, and we've done everything from the original Vampirella #1 to the first Nick Fury Agent of Shield,
Okay.
and usually we do it either like on Wednesday or Thursday because he's a retail manager, so you got to like bounce it around. So I usually keep Wednesday and Thursday open. That's why I film these Monday, Tuesday, Friday. And but this week he got in trouble at work from his supervisor
Oh,
or whatever. So he's got to close every night this week. So we're gonna film it on Saturday. But we're going through Fantastic Four 48,
okay.
First Galactus,
Oh, okay. Right on. Right on.
the one that famous cover with the Watcher on the cover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to dive into back issues and do that, and get some history. Get a
See
little
how
bit of
much they've changed for
yeah,
sure.
get a little bit of comic book history on it and everything else. It's always good to like experience the whole, the full Monty of the comic book experience.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you pick up any comic from the 70s, it's almost like there are no bad ones. They just have so much nostalgia wrapped up in them. Even the worst ones are still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, they're great. I mean, I got mad at myself because I had just spent money before this guy that used to do Facebook sales went on the air, and I didn't know he was doing a show. And more importantly, I didn't know what he had. He had one show. I had just spent my money for the month because don't get much being laid up. So I spent what I could afford to spend on comics already that month between my comic shop, and I bought like a few things online. But he had a full run of the Marvel series that it was all based around the villains.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name of the damn thing now.
I'm not familiar with it.
It only went like about 18 to 20 issues. But the stars of the book were the heroes. So it was like Red Skull, Doctor Doom, Magneto.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that. And the final issue, I had one issue when I was a kid, and it's Doctor Doom was my favorite Marvel villain because I discovered him in the Spider-Man daily comic strips in the newspaper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on.
That was the first big villain that I saw Spider-Man, having battles with. And this book was my first introduction to Magneto, and I'm like, whoa. and he had the Avengers were in this book. And when I say Avengers, I mean anybody that had been an Avenger in like the last 100 years was in this book. And he had them all on their hands and knees bowing down to him.
Oh, wow.
Somehow he had taken over Latveria and, thought he had unseated Doctor Doom.
I can see him doing that.
That wasn't the case.
Okay.
Doom made Magneto his whipping boy. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was a great issue. The art was awesome back then, and he had a whole run of that. Plus, he had a whole run, and they were all in fantastic shape of the original Battlestar Galactica run that Marvel did back in the day. That was like 23 issues or something.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I see like the first 3 or 4 issues all the time. And I've seen like the big oversized treasury editions.
Mm-hmm.
I love those things. Those are great. Oh, they're so expensive now, though.
It's great to have them all together in the one place and just read it all without having to flip through a bunch of different issues, so you can keep them nice and safe and pristine.
Oh yeah, there's a store not far from me that I talk to one of the owners on a regular basis, and they've always got treasury editions. Like if they go to a show.
Mm-hmm.
They have like they have a couple big like extra wide boxes, and they bring them, they bring them all with them. I bought the last time I saw them at a show, I bought like 4 treasury editions off them.
Oh, wow.
I bought they had the 2 out of the 3 or 4 that they did for the Legion of Superheroes. So I got the one that has the wedding between Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad. They did that in a treasury only. It didn't appear anyplace else.
Oh, so okay, right on.
Sometimes they would like reprint, like with the Star Wars ones, they reprinted all that stuff, obviously. With the Battlestar Galactica oversized ones, they reprinted that as well, of course. And the other one was one, of course, going back, Neil Adams did it.
Oh, okay.
Neil Adams did the cover, and I think Mike Grell did like all the interiors.
Right on. I know I get every Moon Knight omnibus that comes out so that I don't have to actually handle my my issues at all.
Oh yeah,
Even though I have reading copies, I like that. I like the omnibus.
I always check the Facebook Marketplace for those
Yeah.
because I bought last year. I bought the X-Men omnibus for the original Age of Apocalypse.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like that fat.
Right on.
It's
Was it
like,
colored pages or black and white pages?
oh no, it's all color.
Okay, right on. I got
And
a couple of the big, thick Moon Knight omnibuses, 3 of them, but the pages are all black and white. I still have to buy them just because it has Moon Knight on the cover.
oh, those are the Marvel Essentials.
That's the ones. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. DC and Marvel both put those out. It was just it was a cheap way for people that couldn't afford because they were charging like, 50 to 175 bucks for the colored edition, and they're like, well, we can just reprint these on black and white on newspaper.
Yeah, and they're great to have if you want to read a full series and you're missing just a few issues, right? Because I have like these old Moon Knight series. I think, at the time I was missing probably 25% of the issues, so I could, read the color versions of the one I have and then flip over to the omnibus to fill in the holes.
Oh yeah, I see those on sale all the time. The black and white editions for like $5 or $10.
Yeah, they're great.
It's like a perfect read. You don't care if the thing gets messed up because
exactly
it's $5.
It's worth the paper it's printed on, and that's all it's ever going to be worth.
Oh yeah, I grabbed the that X-Men omnibus. Somebody was just they were probably like low on funds, and they just started selling. They didn't care. They read it and enjoyed it. It was in phenomenal, pretty phenomenal shape and everything. He delivered it to my house, $20.
Sweet. I like that. That's a win.
One of those things sealed, you'll still get like, $100 to $150 for it online,
Oh yeah.
So now, do you have any other ideas for different characters floating around for what you might go to next?
I do. There's one there. It's I can't say what it is. I went digging into the realm of public domain, and I wanted to find a character that's in the public knowledge that everybody would know that hasn't been done yet. And I found her. And there's potential for even a crossover with Sister Mercy even later on down the road. So it's just a matter of finding the time and opportunity and putting together a team to bring that one together. And it would just be a one shot, but it's going to happen here sometime in the near future. But as of right now, I can't really say that much about it yet.
You don't want to say anything about anything that could be like that because
especially when it's out there in the realm of public domain. As soon as you say that name, a whole bunch of people are going to get the same idea as you.
Well, not just that. Usually, Disney will show up and make like a crappy movie.
Yeah, that's right.
So nobody can touch it. They did that. They did that to Dynamite.
Oh, really?
Dynamite had an incredible run going on a new version of the Lone Ranger. And John Carter, Warlord of Mars. So then Disney made that crappy John Carter, Warlord of Mars movie. So now they get cease and desist letters because now it's no longer in
the public domain.
Now it's no longer public domain.
Wow.
Disney had rights to it for 5 or 10 years. So they went back and they made John Carter, Warlord of Mars, but they can't call him John Carter, Warlord of Mars.
Wow, eh?
They can't even call him John in the book. So they just keep doing Deja Thoris books. But they've released a new series now, I think, called Warlord of Mars, and they did the same thing with Lone Ranger. They made that really terrible Lone Ranger movie,
Johnny Depp movie. Yeah.
Oh, that was garbage.
I never watched it. I couldn't bring myself to.
And that was like a double hit to them. That was like two of their biggest series at the time was Lone Ranger. Because you're getting the older fans that remember it, reminiscing from the kids buying it and enjoying it. And then you get a whole bunch of new readers on board. And boom, all gone.
Like that,
Just, terrible because that's basically Dynamite's shtick is they do the public domain stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, I love the stuff they're doing, especially because I love Vampirella.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. That's a character that I want to read more of. I've just never had much exposure to her. She's
usually pretty exposed.
Yeah, he has a good word for it. Good word for it for sure. And I love these new versions of her with the big bat wings and stuff like that. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Because you like horror, I would recommend there is a 5-issue miniseries that they did.
Okay.
And it was Vampirella versus Aliens.
Really? Oh, I'll be looking for that as soon as we're done here. It's I got to read that.
I thought that was really well done. That's
probably did that?
Yeah, it's probably like free to read on Comixology or something.
Oh, okay, right on. Oh my God, I got to look that up. That'd be awesome.
And because this year was Vampirella's 50th anniversary.
She doesn't look a day over 20.
Oh, ain't it great? Man, I wish I didn't. I had a daughter, and I used to have red hair, and most of my hair all went away, and and it went gray like that.
There you go. Kids have a habit of doing that.
It was her mother, not her. But at least I passed it down, and got her into comics and collectibles. Her favorite movie when she was a baby was the original Snow White.
Oh, okay.
But she couldn't say Snow White, so she would say, "Daddy, I want to watch Hi Ho Dopey White." Which I think is a much better name for that movie.
It's got a bit of a ring to it.
Yeah, it's hip. I get it. But I had bought her a collectible for Snow White, and it was like this big box set, and it had Snow White, Prince Charming, his horse, the old queen, the younger queen.
Oh, right on.
All the dwarfs and some of the forest animals in it. And she's like, "Oh, Daddy, can I open it?" I go, "Oh no, you can't open that one. That's a collectible."
Yeah, that's right.
So I taught her that at a young age, and then I had to go out and buy her all the Happy Meal.
Oh, there you
go. That I found collected together at a store. And opened all those up, and she played with those for years. But
right on.
So she learned. So she knows the difference between that and that. She knows she can get away with next to murder, unless it has something to do with my comic books or my collectible figures. Then if
that was pretty much the same story with my son.
If it's an accident, she'll come walking up to me slowly, and you can't understand anything she's saying because she's in tears and bawling her eye out because she thinks I'm about to put her in a shooting lineup or something. But it's great to get your kids into comics because the earlier you get them reading, like
Absolutely.
You get them reading something they like, and they'll actually start reading, and they'll,
especially in this modern day age, and anything to, keep them, to get them reading is absolutely anything to keep them off of video games. Really, no, I shouldn't say that. Video games are great. I love video games. My son loves video games. I'm glad to see that he'll put the controller down and pick up a book. That was always important.
The more they read, the bigger their vocabulary gets. And
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But
funny how the times change. I remember being 10 years old and finding one of my older brother's books. They were like war books called The Rat Bastards, and they had like a lot of mature language and scenes in them. And find the F word or something, be like, "Oh, there it is in print," and take the book to my friend's house. I'm like, "Look what we found! Look what I found!"
Look.
You know, a little bit different nowadays when a kid just turns on the computer and bam, it's all right there, right?
Yeah. Another great show from childhood days was the Rat Patrol.
Oh, okay. That's a bit before my time. I don't remember that one.
Like I said, I'm older.
You're a boomer. I'm Generation X. You got a couple of years on me.
Actually, I am Gen X because I was born in '69, but
okay, there you go. You got on one end of it.
I'm kind of like, on the cusp there. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there was so much good stuff back then, and now it seems ridiculous. They're charging anywhere from $30 to $130 for like an action figure. Oh, yeah. Well, because we know all you comic book nerds aren't gonna play with these things or even open them. So now they're not toys. Now we put them all out as collectibles.
That's right.
And we keep raising the price because you guys keep buying them.
That's right. Exactly.
And the only time they're gonna stop doing that is when people stop buying them. Just like, I think it's great to have variant covers so people can choose like a cover that they like for the book.
Yep.
For the book they're gonna buy. But I think it's ridiculous to have all these dealers from conventions that just hey, here's my credit card, Marvel. Give me my own copy, 500 copy print run.
Yeah.
So I can charge $200 bucks a book, and I'm like, and people, they just go for it. It's like, ooh, shiny. I'm like, oh, great. The whole community's got ADHD now.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is what it is. I like my older books. I like some of the newer books too.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I found to really like from DC has been like their mature line, but they're all those like oversized magazine size.
I got the 3 Harleen ones. Those were great. Wow, the art was amazing. The writing was amazing. They definitely did a lot of research writing that too, because her psychological analysis of the Joker was pretty. It's interesting to read on its own, right? It definitely was a well researched, well written story. I absolutely love that.
Jeff Lemire did a Joker 3-part one.
Oh, okay.
Which was good. But, even being the Joker fan, it pretty much creeped me the hell out.
Right. His work on Moon Knight was pretty great, too. I love Jeff Lemire.
Oh, he is my all-time favorite comic book writer.
Yeah. That's his Moon Knight run is probably having read every single Moon Knight comic out there is probably next to the Huston run is probably my next favorite. He did an amazing job. And the Smallwood and the covers were just great too. Each one worthy of putting up on your wall.
The Black Label from DC, that's what it's called. That's right.
Yeah.
They just released issue 2 of the 3 Jokers, but they're doing like 5 covers for each issue.
Oh wow, that's a lot of covers.
And for the first issue, anybody that bought it from stores would get like a Joker playing card.
That would be cool.
But it's like, how like the royalty cards would be like slashed in half, and it would have the character going this way and the character going that way. So it's the same thing, but one half is the Joker and the other half is Batman.
Oh, right on. That would be awesome. Right on.
I like that. That was pretty cool. They did a question.
Oh, okay.
They did the question book. They did a question line in there, and they also because they've canceled just about everything coming out of DC except for like the Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Everything else got the axe, and they canceled like 2/3 of their editorial department.
It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah, it's just nuts. But so that they canceled all like the the Neil game. They canceled the whole Neil Gaiman line, like
Yeah.
the Sandman universe. So the new Constantine book got canceled. But at the same time, they started and released issue 1 already of a Constantine Black Label book.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting.
Which, looks more like it would be, on par with, what Alan Moore thought that character was.
I'm saying because you could do a lot with Constantine and Black Label without any restrictions. That's for sure. You could take that anywhere. You could make that as dark as you wanted it to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So, Black Label also brought Lee Bermejo's out to the forefront with that original Batman story that came out that's kicked off that line.
Right. Yeah.
Where everybody was going nuts. Oh my God, you can see his Batarang.
The bat junk.
Yeah. You can see the Batarang. I go, yeah, if you squint a lot and make your face right up on top of it.
Still big enough to make the headlines, though, I guess, right?
Some Karen spotted it, or overheard their kid go, oh my God, you can see Batman's D.
Right.
I want to talk to the manager. But there's a lot of great stuff in comics out there. I think there's even, mainstream stuff. I think the small press stuff is killing it. And the indie community now is so friggin' huge.
Oh, it's blowing right up. I have new friendship requests on my Facebook every day from other indie creators.
Because there's
great community.
There's so many, in this day and age, if you want to make a comic book, just go make a comic book because anybody can make a comic book now.
That's right. Exactly. The trick is making a good one.
You gotta make a good one. I mean, whoever writes the book needs to, get some critiques from a couple of professional people on the script.
Yeah, it's definitely a group project. It's not. I'm sure there's people out there that are talented enough to handle every aspect of it themselves. But I think the more hands you get involved, the more people you get involved, more voices, get more opinions, and it's definitely it's definitely better to do it with a large group of people rather than by yourself.
Yeah, it's good to have a complete, well-oiled machine.
That's right,
and definitely one of the most important things in a successful comic is a good editor.
I had a friend that was doing some editing for me, and came in quite handy actually. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Especially when you have people that can fill in those aspects that you can't do yourselves. Like I'm pretty computer illiterate, with the exception of a few things that I need to know to get by. But when it comes to the more complicated programs, I have some friends that can take care of that for me. And my drawing is about as much as stick figures. I send my sketches to my artist Ricardo, and somehow he can decipher the stick figures that I send him, and he turns them into these beautiful pages. I don't know how he figures it out, but I'm not complaining.
Well, the sketch you drew of boobs was actually, obviously, headlights. Oh, boobs. Yeah,
that's right. We'll go with boobs.
So, this has been great having you on tonight.
Thank you.
You guys can head over to indieplanet.com and find that book.
It's there waiting for you.
Sister Mercy. You can get both issues 1 and 2. And they have a print-on-demand service as well. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Helps me to avoid a little bit of the American shipping. That's why I was saying earlier, just it delivered right out of Florida.
Oh, so you get it done right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And there's so many other great comics up on Indie Planet. Oh my God, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comics up there.
Yeah, because there's going to be thousands of creators up in Canada.
Yeah, there's a few of us.
I mean, What do you all do in the wintertime?
Write comics, right?
I actually know the answer to that. I got a cousin who lives up in Canamore.
Right on.
So we want to wish you the best of luck with number 3. Definitely hit me up when you're getting ready to do the Kickstarter for that, so we can put something up on the page for it.
Sounds great. We'll do for sure.
And we can talk to you more in depth about the characters and the direction of the plot line and everything else when number 3 is on her way.
Perfect. Right on. Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Corey. You have a great night now.
You too. Cheers.